All right, Ed Lavandera on scene for us. Ed, thank you very much for that report. Joining us now in the arena, CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller and criminologist and behavioral analyst Casey Jordan. Welcome to both of you. So, John, my understanding is you have some new information. Investigators are now looking into a white van. What more can you tell us about this?
That is a report that they got from neighbors, and among the things they have asked neighbors to look for in their videos in that immediate area is a white van. But I want to be very careful here because the white van is not all they're looking for. They want to have people look for any suspicious vehicles because they don't want to be focused on any one particular thing for reasons that A, that could not be involved, B, there could be multiple vehicles involved. But I think what they're doing is expanding the crowdsourcing by asking people to look for these dates, January 11th, January 31st. One of them, of course, the date of the kidnapping would be highly relevant. The January 11th one seems to be the date when they heard reports of suspicious vehicles. So the question is, was somebody doing pre-operational surveillance, 3 weeks before this? And could you find a vehicle on your camera, on your Ring doorbell, on something, and then see the same vehicle in the same area on the day of the kidnapping earlier? That's what they're looking for.
And on this letter, we talked before, TMZ received this letter yesterday that demanded one Bitcoin for information on the kidnapper worth about $66,000. TMZ now says they received a second letter from the same person that came in today. If this person was legitimate, why wouldn't they just go to the FBI? I mean, there's already a $50,000 reward being offered.
Well, the $50,000 reward being offered by the FBI, and they'll accept tips anonymously, obviously, but to get the reward, you're going to have to, and it's particularly if you may end up becoming a witness in the case, it's going to be apparent who you are. This person seems to want Bitcoin, seems to want it, sent through those channels. And the question is, in the second note, do they give more information, more specific, something that someone could actually vet as to either how they know or what they know? Because nobody's going to pay up front for information that may or may not ever come after, you send that coin.
So, Casey, the authorities have also announced that they have several pieces of evidence, and included among that gloves. Can you help us understand, I mean, how common is it if someone commits a crime for there to then be clothing like these items left behind?
All depends on the sophistication of your perpetrator. And in this particular case, we already have a sense that at least the guy on the porch, not terribly sophisticated. I mean, we've been talking for 2 days about how, he was surprised to see a camera, but did not leave. Instead, went and picked some flowers and tried to cover the camera lens with them. I mean, a sophisticated burglar, home invader, carries a can of spray paint or a piece of tape to stick on camera lenses. So it doesn't surprise me that the same guy on the porch could, if fleeing the scene of a crime, just start casting things out of the car window into the desert along the side of the road. And the whole point of course, wearing gloves is so that you don't leave trace evidence behind. And yet it's highly likely that there will be trace evidence inside those gloves, or even botanic materials on the outside of the gloves from where he actually picked the flowers. So I don't think we're talking about sophisticated people. But that said, it would make sense that the gloves would belong to them, because we, apart from just having beginner's luck, perhaps, we are just consternated that we are 12 days in and still don't know who the guy on the porch is. But with all this new video evidence coming forward, especially with all the neighbors looking through their camera footage, I have no doubt we're going to close in on this soon.
And Casey, when you consider all of that, I mean, we saw this white tent go up in front of Nancy Guthrie's house. This is, of course, 12 days in. Why would the authorities do something like this? I mean, how do you explain this?
In a nutshell, I would say they're a little tardy to the party. All of this should have been happening days ago from day one. We should have been asking the neighbors within a 2-mile radius to be checking their cameras. We should have been walking up and down all of the arteries, the permeable neighborhood ways in and ways out of this neighborhood. We knew from the second day that there had been some report of trespassing by a neighbor earlier in the month. I don't know why that wasn't followed up on, but the tent today, apparently they're processing potential evidence on the scene. That's a good thing because things can often go bad in the process of transporting evidence to a lab. Depends on the evidence. But we're seeing a flurry of activity in the last few days that should have really happened. Again, they know so much more than we do, perhaps earlier in the investigation. It seems like things are being taken very seriously now. The video footage of the guy on the porch was an absolute game changer. And the new video that we think could be related that TMZ found today also looks very promising. You know, we've got a guy 5 miles away, has a backpack with reflective tape on it. Very similar to the one with the guy on the porch. And I would not be at all surprised if those two people in both pieces of video are related.
All right. Casey Jordan, John Miller, thank you both very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Good to be.
All right. We are going to watch for any developments in this ongoing story. The co-host of America's Most Wanted standing by to join us live later on this hour. But first, up next in the arena, Pete Hegseth now responding to that scorching ruling by a federal judge today, what he's saying about his attempt to punish Senator Mark Kelly for that so-called illegal orders video.
Weight loss isn't fair, especially for those wired with food noise. You know, that relentless voice pushing your next craving. Today's weight loss medications can quiet this noise. It's how they work. At Mochi Health, we're here to help make them work for you, with doctor-led guidance at every step. The results for our members are real. If you're ready to quiet the noise, gain control, and find a healthy path to weight loss, join us at joinmochi.com.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
That seems like the best job in the world, the Mel Brooks job.
I'm glad nobody took it.
No one was as good.
He got everything right.
You became the superstar.
I'm very talented. I was born to make people laugh. So I do that.
All right, so that's one pair of glasses.
Yep.
With prescription lenses, plus anti-reflective lens coating.
Oh.
Scratch-resistant coating.
Did I choose?
UV protection. Award-winning customer service.
That's me.
That's also me. Free returns, free exchanges, and free frame adjustments for life.
And how much more is that?
Oh, it's all included at Warby Parker.
So my glasses
Are still just $95.
Oh.
Surprise! I just get excited.
TNT Sports. College basketball gets even bigger. Big time mindset, big time vibes. For them big time moments, I make big time shots. Big time jam. Everywhere we go, you know we go big. College basketball all season long on TNT, True TV, and stream on HBO Max. We go big.
Are you concerned that the administration could try to indict you and the 5 other Democratic lawmakers as soon as tomorrow?
I understand who these people are. I think you understand who they are. I wouldn't put anything past them. Of course. You know, this president has a habit of doubling down on shitty ideas.
That was Senator Mark Kelly earlier today, reacting to questions about a possible indictment from the Trump administration. It comes as a federal judge shut down Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's attempt to punish Kelly over that social media video where he and 5 other Democratic lawmakers urged service members to refuse illegal orders. The judge ruling that Hegseth's attempt to pursue administrative action against the retired Navy captain was unlawfully retaliatory. Secretary Hegseth tweeted in response to the ruling, quote, "This will be immediately appealed. Sedition is sedition, Captain," with the word captain in quotes. CNN's Caitlin Polantz joins us now. Caitlin, always good to see you. Can you walk us through the judge's decision here?
Yeah, Casey, the main finding of the judge, this is Judge Richard Leon in the D.C. federal court at the trial level. He's saying that the Pentagon here, they are trying to trample Senator Mark Kelly's First Amendment protections and his rights to free speech. Now, the reason that the judge is looking at this is because at the beginning of January, after that video had been put out by Kelly and 5 other members of Congress, all former military or intelligence community members, in that video, they had said, and Kelly specifically said, you can refuse illegal orders. He's speaking to members of the military and the intelligence community, essentially saying that he would have their back if they wanted to refuse an order of the president if they believed it to be unlawful, something like those double tap strikes, those sorts of issues. In this situation, though, the Pentagon wanted to censure Mark Kelly. And they wanted to do it because he's a retired naval captain and also because they are very unhappy that he is trying to encourage people, they say, to disobey the chain of command in the military, that he's encouraging disobedience across the military. The judge is stepping in there and saying, the Pentagon can't do this to a retired member of the military. You can't censure someone like this and also try and demote them, potentially looking back at a years-old file from when Kelly left the Navy. But also, the judge is saying, you can't ask us to allow this when you're talking about a member of Congress who's just out there saying what they believe, reminding something that is true for members of the military, that they do have the ability to refuse orders if they believe them to be illegal. And you can't do it especially because Kelly is an oversight, a person in a position of oversight over Congress. So this is a very strong ruling in favor of Mark Kelly. It stops the Pentagon from censuring him and from putting things in his file related to this particular video, the Don't Give Up the Ship video that Kelly taped in November. And the judge is giving Kelly quite something to stand on as they still look and see whether there could be additional action on the criminal prosecution side. We know the Justice Department wanted to charge Kelly with a crime as well as the others in that video, and they were not successful earlier this week. The judge saying that in this situation, the Pentagon should not be treating him like this. And as a retired veteran, retired veterans themselves deserve more respect from the government. Casey?
All right, Caitlin Polantz, thank you very much for that reporting. Our panel is back, and David Urban, you obviously have a storied career in service yourself. You saw the way Pete Hegseth addressed Mark Kelly as captain Donald Trump has been focused on what a president can and can't do with the military since the beginning of his first term. This is something that he has really focused on. He that was inappropriate, as Tillis says here?
Listen, I think Tom Tillis is entitled to his opinion. I think in this instance, the president felt he got punched in the nose and was punching back. You can call it what you like. I support their right to say stupid shit like they did. I think it's unseemly. I think it's shameful for someone with a distinguished career like Senator Kelly, who knows far better to get involved in these kind of things, to do so. And so I don't want to. I wish the focus would be more on these people that did this. They know way better than to do these things. A lot of people hold them in high regard. And in this instance, they really fell very, very short of the regard they're held by many people. It's just wrong. It's shameful. Dumb.
All right. Coming up next here in the arena, the co-host of America's Most Wanted is with us live as investigators sift through thousands of tips and some possible new leads in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Explore CNN podcasts for your daily dose of news, culture, and smart storytelling. And discover the conversations shaping our world. Follow and listen to CNN podcasts wherever you get your podcasts.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
Watch The Lead, weekdays at 5 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Every weeknight, we cover it all. From legal battles, at least one juror has now been excused, to political showdowns. How much do you think that weighs on the president and all the conversations in between? Wayne from Washington. Wayne, what's your question? Will you take this all the way to the Supreme Court?
I'm not refuting a syllable of what you said.
What do you say to people who are looking to find their voice?
All the news. Laura Coates Live. Weeknights at 11 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Tonight on 360.
The stories that matter. Anderson Cooper 360. Weeknights at 8 on CNN.
We continue to follow all the developments in the search for Nancy Guthrie. This morning, 12 days after she was reported missing, we saw authorities temporarily put up a white tent directly outside Nancy's front door. You can see it there. Investigators have recovered several pieces of evidence, including multiple gloves, one of which was found about 1.5 miles from Nancy's home yesterday. Joining us now in the arena is Callahan Walsh, co-host of America's Most Wanted and executive director for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Callahan, thanks very much for being here. What is standing out to you right now, especially, I mean, if you think about the weather in Tucson, Arizona, you'd think that a glove 1.5 miles from the house maybe would have stood out before 12 days from now. I mean, how are you thinking about what we're learning here?
Well, it does seem like the investigation has hit a lull. You know, we've seen these spurs of activity, and then, you know, again, we're having this lull in activity. It seems like the investigation is going in multiple directions at this point. They're intensifying the search at the crime scene. They're intensifying the search around the crime scene. And of course, taking in and sifting through all those thousands and thousands of tips that have been coming in. And that many tips, I think, is a good problem to have. You'd rather have more tips than not enough tips. And so really their job is to track down every little avenue that they can in hopes that they find that key that unlocks the door to this case.
TMZ reported receiving a second letter. Remember, we were talking earlier in the week about the first letter that demanded 1 Bitcoin in exchange for information about the kidnapper. Now there's a second letter there. I mean, is there a world where authorities would ever consider paying for that information if the person provided something that suggests it's credible?
I don't think the FBI would pay for the information unless they did provide something that was just incredible, something that guaranteed the safe return of Nancy Guthrie. But at this point, you know, and I'm not so sure the FBI holds much merit in these new ransom letters. 1 Bitcoin is not worth all that much. I think it was $67,500. The FBI is offering a $50,000 award. Why not be the hero and provide that information directly to the FBI and get the $50,000 instead of extorting this family? So I really don't think they're holding these new letters with much regard, but they have to track down everything, right? I mean, this is somebody that's out there trying to extort this family for money. And so it does take attention away from the FBI, from the real case. But again, they really have to sniff out every lead that they can.
And what kind of leads, in your experience, you know, having paid so close attention to so many of these cases, are they able to get from something like a glove that a potential kidnapper has thrown out the window of the car driving away from the home?
Right. Well, there's quite a bit of information that you could get from one of these gloves. First of all, determining what type of material it was, whether it was the nitrile or latex, that can help narrow down who might have bought a glove like this. There also may be DNA of the potential kidnapper in the glove, or Nancy's DNA. We know that there was blood at the scene of the crime. That would pinpoint this glove back to that crime scene. And even if the individual had double gloved, as many people had pointed out, that oftentimes, you know, when you have one of these latex or nitrile gloves, oftentimes you blow into it to inflate it to put it on. So even if it was a double glove over another one, there's possible saliva DNA in there as well.
You, of course, Callahan, in your professional work, have spent so much time with families of missing people and, of course, children in many cases. When you think about it, I mean, this is now the 12th day for this family. I mean, what would you say to them? Do you have any advice or words of wisdom as they, they still got to wake up every morning to this terrible reality?
Mm-hmm. Well, number one, they have to keep hope alive, and not knowing is the hardest part. My brother went missing at 6 years old, and my parents always said that not knowing was the hardest part. But they have to keep hope alive. There's a chance that we can get Nancy Guthrie back. They need to stay strong. They need to stay vigilant. Savannah has done a great job pleading with the public, pleading with potential kidnappers, getting her message out there, and she needs to continue to do that. Humanize her mother. continue to spur the public on in providing these tips, it really is about not giving up. Law enforcement isn't going to be giving up. We're not going to be giving up, and I'm sure the Guthrie family isn't giving up either. That tip will come in.
Sure.
Law enforcement will find that information, and we'll get to the bottom of this case.
All right, Callahan Walsh, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. We'll be right back.
Taylor's engagement was just Princess Di level news.
$2.2 billion in spend is projected based on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding planning.
A Taylor Swift wedding is a pinnacle moment of celebrity culture.
It says a lot about our country that we have dragged Taylor Swift into a culture war about marriage.
People are invested in what they think that her life is.
I do. The Taylor and Travis era, now streaming on the CNN app.
I get to call someone I've looked up to a colleague.
We're two former White House correspondents with a tireless work ethic.
We're ready for whatever comes our way.
The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer and Pamela Brown, weekday mornings at 10 on CNN, and watch on the CNN app.
Welcome back. New season. Plenty of reasons to get caught up.
We're mature, rational.
That's trash.
We are getting spicy tonight. Have I got news for you? New episode Saturday at 9 on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Aaron Burnett out front, weeknights at 7 on CNN, and watch on the CNN app.
I'm always shopping The RealReal.
They drop over 10,000 new arrivals every day.
Gucci, Dior, Louis Vuitton, Hermes,
Cartier, all up to 90% off retail.
Millions of people, millions of possibilities.
Visit therealreal.com for $25 off your first order. Terms apply.
That seems like the best job in the world, the Mel Brooks job.
I'm glad nobody took it.
No one was as good.
He got everything right.
You became the superstar.
I'm very talented. I was born to make people laugh. So I do that.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go, ah!
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Bad Bunny is a phenomenon.
He rivals someone like Beyonce or Taylor Swift.
Bad Bunny will be headlining this year's Super Bowl halftime show.
The bigger he gets, the more he doubles down on his Puerto Rican-ness.
This is an American show, so it doesn't really make sense to me.
If you are a business, who better than the biggest star in the world?
Bad Bunny and the halftime show, Rhythms of Resistance, now streaming on the CNN app.
Life on the Mars farm, it's anything but quiet.
Every day is a lot of moving parts.
Especially with a renovation business that never stops.
There's no going back now.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Fixer to Fabulous, all new Tuesday night at 8 on HGTV.
Thank you for being with us. Jake Tapper is standing by for the lead. And Jake, I know you're back from Arizona, although, of course, the search for Nancy Guthrie still a top story.
Horrible story. Thanks, Casey. We'll look for more tomorrow in the arena.
See you tomorrow.
A new urgent plea in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance investigation. The lead starts right now. Check your videos. That new request to everyone who lives within 2 miles of Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. They're asking neighbors to look back a whole month before the 84-year-old disappeared. The ask just 2 days after the release of those chilling images of an intruder armed at her front door. Authorities also now say they have discovered multiple gloves in the area and are examining them as potential evidence. We're going to go live to Tucson with the very latest. Plus, a federal judge just shut down Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth amidst his attempt to retaliate against Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, one of 6 lawmakers who made the video reminding service members that they are not obligated to carry out illegal orders, something that Hegseth once said aloud. This is the second rejection in just 1 week of the administration, trying to punish speech it does not like. And the AI CEO, who has the world doing a double take with his article titled "Something Big is Happening," warning that whatever it is could be, quote, much bigger than COVID. That CEO will be here on The Lead. Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper, and I'm back from Tucson, but we are still focused on this important story. The Lead tonight, investigators in the search for Nancy Guthrie are asking any residents within the 2-mile radius of her home for security camera footage of any suspicious activity from the entire month before her disappearance on February 1st. The 84-year-old mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie disappeared from her Tucson home on that Sunday in the wee hours of the morning. And now the Pima County Sheriff's Department wants her neighbors to send in any video of vehicles or traffic or pedestrians or any suspicious activity between January 1st and February 2nd, the day after her disappearance. CNN's John Miller reports that investigators have gotten a number of leads since Guthrie's disappearance, one of which involves a white van, according to one official with knowledge of the case, though they have cautioned that it's just one of many unconfirmed tips that authorities are still examining. The Pima County Sheriff's Department shared today that investigators recovered several items, including gloves, plural. This comes after the New York Post reported yesterday that FBI agents found at least one black glove about 1.5 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. You may recall it was someone with gloves, wearing gloves, seen tampering with her doorbell camera in the early hours of the morning she disappeared. Even though it has been 12 days since then, with no suspect identified, the Guthrie family and Tucson, and indeed all of Arizona, they're keeping hope alive. News 4 Tucson, that's the station where Savannah Guthrie worked early in her journalism career, hung a banner outside today reading, "Bring her home." That's referring to Nancy Guthrie. Savannah also took to social media and posted this old home video and a family photo. This is on Instagram today in tribute to her mother with the caption, "Our lovely mom. We will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." Let's go right now to CNN's Nick Watt, who's on the ground right outside Nancy Guthrie's house outside Tucson. Nick, give us a lay of the land of the investigation as of today.
Well, Jake, it's been fascinating to see how that investigation has evolved and perhaps accelerated since they released that video from the doorbell cam showing the suspect on Nancy Guthrie's porch. Thousands of tips coming in a day. You mentioned the white van, and also the video requests have been fascinating. Earlier today, we heard that authorities were asking anybody around here for very specific days and times. They were January 11th, so about 3 weeks before Nancy Guthrie disappeared, between the hours of 9 and midnight. Also January 31st, the day before she disappeared, between 9:30 and 11 in the morning. They mentioned there was potentially a suspicious vehicle spotted in the neighborhood at around 10:30 that morning. So then later they expanded it, as you say. They asked for not just vehicles, they asked for people, anything that anybody deems suspicious in that month-long period from January 1 to February 1. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they get, because this is a kind of rural area. There are no street lights, so unclear what will be picked up. Also, local zoning means every house has got to be at least 30 feet back from the road. A lot of them are further than that, and there is a lot of vegetation. So investigators will be trying to get any shreds of video they can to try and patch them together and figure out a timeline, try and track this suspect in and also, crucially, out. you mentioned the gloves. Jake, yesterday we saw investigators finding a glove. We hear from the Sheriff's Department this morning, gloves, plural, and also other evidence that they are going through. We also saw this morning, Jake, just before 8 a.m. local, a white tent was put up by Nancy Guthrie's porch, the kind of tent that you sometimes see at crime scenes. Now, that porch, of course, provided one of the first clues, which were some spots of blood on that porch that were traced to Nancy Guthrie. As you say, it's been 12 days. The investigation appears to be accelerating, but as far as we know, there doesn't appear to be an end in sight.
All right, Nick Watt in Tucson, Arizona, thank you so much. Let's bring in Jack Jupin. He's a retired FBI supervisory special agent. Jack, the Pima County Sheriff's Department is now asking for more than a month's worth of video footage from Nancy's neighbors. The first post on the Neighbors app by Ring just requested footage from 2 days. On January 31st, the day before Nancy's disappearance, and January 11th, 2 weeks before she disappeared. Why are they expanding the request, and why now are they doing this, 12 days in?
You know, Jake, very good point. And I got to be very honest with you. As a retired supervisory special agent, I've worked violent crime. I've worked international terrorism. I've worked white collar crime. I've worked an actual legitimate kidnapping, which what we're looking at right here. My point is, I would have been doing this, and I'm not second guessing anybody in law enforcement. I'm just saying how we did things back in the day when I was still working as an FBI supervisor. That is absolutely important that not only 2 days, I would be going back a month. This isn't happenstance. This is a targeted kidnapping. That person didn't just show up there that day and wonder, geez, will she be here? Will she be at home? They knew who she was. They knew her home. They knew her address, right? So I'm going back a month. I'm going back a month and a half because they've been doing drive-bys. They've been targeting. They've been casing her house to see a pattern of life of her and what she did, what she normally did on weekends, weeknights, what have you. So my understanding is, and listen, I understand. Trust me, I've dealt with the FBI laboratory a million times. They're outstanding. They're the best in the world, and they really are. And I've heard a lot of my colleagues say this on other networks, your network. They're the best of the best, but it takes some time to go through digital evidence. Obviously, they're dealing with Nest. They're dealing with, getting that evidence out. Sometimes it does not happen. I just like to tell people, it's not like television. Nothing happens in 24 hours in the FBI or the federal government. It does take time, but working with our local partners, our state partners, our federal partners, and everybody's kind of chiming in here. The fact that we're looking for gloves, those gloves, that's not a coincidence. I mean, why is somebody, there's a lot of things here that don't add up to me as an investigator, because 2 gloves all of a sudden found, obviously they look identical to the gloves that were used. Why would you drop gloves within a half a mile of a crime scene that you use? There will be DNA.
It's interesting that the law enforcement's asking for footage through February 2nd, January 1st through February 2nd. Nancy disappeared on February 1st. Why would they want footage for the day after?
Well, good question. A lot of times at a crime scene, somebody commits a crime, they show back up.
Yeah.
And we've seen this time and time again. In homicides, we've seen this. In very violent crime actions, we've seen this. And an assortment of other crimes, unfortunately, where the bad guy does show back up again. And I would be doing everything that you're talking about right now, Jake. I would be going back a month and a half before. I would go back till the day that happened till now to find out, are we seeing the same thing? Are we looking at LPRs, license plate readers? Who's been in that area? Who's common to that area? And they're all over, trust me. LPRs are all over every street. You will never see them. You'll never know they're there. They're there. There's cameras everywhere, whether they be red light cameras, whether it be Nest cameras, whether it be doorbell cameras, Ring cameras, what have you. There is surveillance in that area.
Yeah.
You're not. I understand the atmosphere there. That the house is back. It's on a big, large piece of property. All the houses are kind of the same. That being said, there's no way you're getting in and out of that neighborhood multiple times without being noticed.
All right, Jack Chipman, thank you so much. Appreciate it. The 6 still photos and 3 videos may be the strongest evidence yet in the Guthrie case. Coming up, what a forensic analyst is picking up after reviewing the images for 2 days now. And later on the lead, an American citizen shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent and survived. They say that she rammed them with her SUV, but the footage tells a different story.